Game 4 represented a pivotal moment for the playoff series between Celtics and Knicks. With New York holding a 2-1 lead, Boston needed a win to stay alive in the series. The intensity and physicality reached high levels, exactly what you'd expect from coaches like Mazzulla and Thibodeau. Let's now examine how these two coaches managed the game from a tactical standpoint. These two teams heavily rely on switching defenses and mismatch hunting, so their game plans came down to these two aspects and how to turn them in their favor. The Knicks knew Boston didn't want to concede the switch with Horford, so they involved him in many pick-and-roll actions to let Brunson attack the drop coverage. New York frequently utilized Hart as the screener since he was guarded by Horford. To stop Brunson's penetration, White has to step in and leave Bridges open from outside the arc. In this play, both Horford and Porzingis are involved in the stagger action. The reason why this works is that Towns can pop out to lure Horford away from the paint, while Robinson rolls to the basket. Here, Brunson reads the defense and notices how the Dominican big man is dropping too high, so he attacks him downhill. The other move Thibodeau did was identifying the weakest link in the Celtics defense and attacking it. Derek White was the target they chose because he can be attacked physically by taller players. That's why Anunoby here is setting a screen for Towns. So Cat has now White on him and can back him down in the post. In this play, the principle is the same, attacking White with a bigger player in the post. The Towns-Bridges pick and roll forced White to pick his poison, and this action was utilized especially in the second half. The Knicks got the matchup they wanted and all the players are spaced properly. To adjust on the two situations described, Mazzulla utilized whoever was guarding Hart as a helper, knowing the former Laker isn't an outside threat. Here we see the Celtics center involved in the pick-and-roll action as in the first clips. Porzingis has to prevent the lob for Robinson, so the help comes from Tatum, who's willing to leave Hart wide open. Same situation as before, with Porzingis dropping on the screen. Tatum helps, even if it means conceding a clear passing lane to Hart. But let's now see what the Celtics did to exploit New York's switching defense. First, as the Knicks did, they found a target to attack, specifically Jalen Brunson. Then they forced the favorable matchup with screens, knowing New York would concede the switch. McBride has to stay home because White has gravity as a shooter. Here, Holiday immediately gives the ball to Horford to force Brunson to guard the Dominican. Thibodeau wants Towns to help on the possible post-up by Horford, so Holiday makes a key flash cut to make the defense pay. Hart has to pick up Holiday, who doesn't even have to look at Brown to know that he's open in the corner. Another thing Boston did to exploit the opposing switching coverage was setting Varejao screens. So the ones with the big man who switches the angle of the screen at the last moment. This is something we've seen in Game 3 as well, and produced pretty good results. That's why I expected Mazzulla to use it much more than how he did in Game 4. One counterintuitive move I appreciated by Thibodeau was doing what Mazzulla didn't want to do. So switch with his big man. Here, Boston wanted to force Towns on Brown, and the former Timberwolf gladly accepted. The reason why New York does it is because these plays are often stagnant isolations, with the big man instructed to protect the paint in these situations. In the following two plays, we'll see why the Knicks coaching staff did that. Here, there is the initial screen to create the mismatch. With Towns focused on denying the paint, and the Celtics offense that has been made stagnant because of the isolation, all Tatum can do is shooting a pull-up logo three, exactly what the defense wants. This play starts with the usual screen set by the man guarded by Cat. Tatum tries to get to the paint, but Towns' defense has the rim protection as his main priority in these situations. So he ultimately ends up with another pull-up three. So the Knicks are now up 3-1 in the series against the Celtics, with Boston that needs 3 wins in a row without Jayson Tatum, who sustained an Achilles injury during the last minutes of the game. There are still some things I'd like to see from both teams, though. I mentioned the Varejao screens, but I'd also use more back screens and ghost screens. These are 2 really effective ways to punish switches. If I was Mazzulla, I would also try some 2-3 zone, especially in the moments of the game when Brunson tends to isolate a lot. Lastly, I remind you that you can find some extra content in my IG page. By clicking the link in the description, you'll find exclusive posts on various basketball topics, treated with an original and scientific approach. Thank you to the people who'll support me there, and to the ones who will like this video and subscribe to my channel. Your support means a lot to me. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.